Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the fourth video in our series of 5 review videos on how to factor. This one is covering what to do with a trinomial when a is not equal to 1. That is, any polynomial of the form ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is not 1. In this case, instead of finding numbers that multiply to c and add to b, we're looking for a pair of numbers that multiply to a times c and add to b. Then what we will do is we'll take those two numbers, we will split the middle term into those two numbers, and then we will factor by grouping. So for instance, on number 1, we're doing 5 times 10, which is 50. So we need numbers that multiply to 50 and add to 27. Multiply to 50 and add to 27. That would be 25 and 2. 25 times 2 is 50. 25 plus 2 is 27. So what we do is we take that first term, we leave it alone. We split this middle term, this 27x, into a 25x and a 2x. Again, those being the numbers I came up with here in this part. And then we still have a plus 10. Now what we do from here is we're factoring by grouping, which we have not reviewed yet, but we've talked about many times this year. We're going to group the first two terms and the second two terms, and then we're going to take out the greatest common factor. So from the first set of parentheses, I can take out a 5x, which would leave x plus 5. And from the second set of parentheses, I can take out a 2, which will also leave x plus 5. The entire reason we're doing this is to get the same numbers inside the parentheses. So here and here have to be the same. That's because that is one of our two factors. So one of our two factors is x plus 5, what is inside the parentheses. The other factor are the numbers that are sitting in front of the parentheses, 5x plus 2. So that trinomial factors into x plus 5 times 5x plus 2. Now we need to be a little bit careful here because we need to remember that this, like every other form of factoring, should start by us checking for a greatest common factor. We should not dive straight into number 2 and go, oh, what's 4 times 32? No, we should look at that polynomial and we should realize that all of these terms are all divisible by 4. This has a GCF of 4. And we should always factor that 4 out first. And here's why. This is no longer difficult factoring once we take out the 4. And when we take out the 4, remember, we divide each term by 4. So now we're just looking at basic trinomial factoring. The 4 needs to sit in front, but we're looking for a pair of numbers that multiplies to 8 and adds to 6, which is simply 2 and 4. So you need to be careful. It's not always the super complicated approach. Please make sure you always check for a GCF first. Now I do think that's the only example I picked today for this video that has a GCF. So here are 4 more examples. These will be relatively quick. So we do a times c, 5 times 6. We're looking for numbers that multiply to 30 and add to 13. That would be 3 and 10. So we have 5x squared plus 10x plus 3x plus 6. Again, it doesn't technically matter whether you write the 10x or the 3x first. It will factor by grouping either way. So then we group the first two and we group the second two. The first two have a common factor of 5x, leaving x plus 2. The second two have a common factor of 3, also leaving x plus 2. So our two factors are x plus 2, that's what's inside the parentheses, and 5x plus 3, what is in front of the parentheses. So our answer would be x plus 2 times 5x plus 3. On the next one, this one's a little bit different in that 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. And we're looking for numbers that multiply to negative 10 and add to positive 3. That would be 5 and negative 2. So when we split this one up, we split it into a 5x and a negative 2x. Now when we group, if that third term is negative, the negative has to be grouped with the 2. So now we go in and we factor out greatest common factors. The first set of parentheses, all I can do is take out an x, which leaves 2x plus 5. And the second set, I need it to match, so I need both signs to change, which means I need to factor out a negative 1, leaving 2x plus 5. So again, what's inside is 1. That's 2x plus 5 is one of my two factors. What's in front is the other, x minus 1. On the third one, similar. We're looking for numbers that multiply to negative 20 and add to negative 8. That would be negative 10 and positive 2. So we split up the middle term into a negative 10x and a positive 2x. We then group. So we group the first two, we group the second two. Factor out the greatest common factors. 5x squared minus 10x has a common factor of 5x, leaving x minus 2. 2x minus 4 has a common factor of 2, leaving x minus 2. So my factors are what's on the inside, x minus 2, and what is in front, 5x plus 2. Again, I shouldn't need to slow down very much. You can always stop the video, rewind the video if you need to see it at a slower pace, but we've done this several times this year. This should be full-on review. So here we're looking for a pair of numbers that multiplies to 3 times negative 5, which is negative 15, adds to positive 2. That would be 5 and negative 3. So we split up the middle term into a 5x and a negative 3x. We then group. Group the first two, group the second two. Does not matter whether you write the negative 3x first or the positive 5x first, it will work either way. So here I can take out an x, which would leave 3x plus 5. Here all I can do is take out a 1, but I need it to be a negative 1 so that the signs will match. That means my factors are 3x plus 5 and x minus 1. That's it for this video. We only have one video remaining in the review series, and that is how to factor polynomials with more than 3 terms.